Everybody's got back. Oh, Laura, I think you're in twice. So Tracy, have you got your story there ready?
Yep.
Cheers.
All right, here we go. So after reading Anthea's poem, which begins, "All it takes is for one person to make a stance, to wake up from the dizzy trance, to free the mind is the only way to beat it, break the silence and be free. Sharing has really been the key. It's made me think about how much of our life was actually lived as if we are in a trance, almost sleepwalking through our lives, not really knowing which one is the dream and which one is the reality. Rising each morning to begin yet another day, but never fully waking up to what is really our life and participating with self-awareness and consciousness. There's always been this feeling that there's something more to life than everyone's telling us. I'm not talking about a secret society, but rather that there's more to the story than we're being told. I believe there's more meaning to our existence than we are led to believe. And in the sense that there's more importance than what we're told about our potential and the power that we have not yet discovered within. Despite growing up Catholic and knowing that I was expected to start a family of my own after getting an education, I knew it wasn't the path for me, or at least it wasn't what I wanted to do. And without it being said, I knew that I was not following protocol, and it was best to keep my plans to myself, not knowing exactly how I was going to break free from the imposed expectations when the time would come. I got to break the silence and be free when my mother died unexpectedly and suddenly, the same night I spoke with her before flying out for Christmas. Up until then, I had been putting myself through college while working and trying to figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up. With her death, all understood expectations were instantly erased, and my slate was clean to write my own destiny. However, I also felt like I had become an orphan. My biological father was a deadbeat dad, and my stepfather revealed that he was not obligated any longer to be a dad to me or my brother with my mom's death. The families on all sides had been fractured with mom's passing, and I felt like I really didn't belong to any one of them anymore. It has taken 2 decades before I could even begin to see that I had to free my mind from this false belief of being separate and all alone in this journey called life. It really is no way to live. We are all wounded souls walking around, acting from a place of separation. Sharing really is the key, and what we have here is an opportunity to do just that. Share our stories so that we and others may learn and heal from it, and by doing so, we help others to tell their story and heal as well. Somehow we have all forgotten that we are all empowering angels, and we are here to love, support, encourage, and heal each other so that we may remember who we are, what we came here to do, and that we are all one. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. Crystal, would you like to read out yours next? Thanks. I think the sound might be better. If it's not, then we might have to pause. Thanks for joining us, Rob.
Okay. I hope it sounds good now.
That sounds brilliant. Thank you.
I don't know. Using 2 devices usually works. Okay, so hi there and welcome to my story. My name is Crystal Nasambihisa. I was born in Nairobi, Kenya. I am the oldest of my 5 brothers and sisters, 3 brothers and 2 sisters. It does make me sad I didn't get to see my sisters until a couple of years ago, a dream I've missed out on as I grew up. I grew up a carefree and keen on feeling that I will learn what I need to know as I go. Moving continents and having to start anew was harder than expected. I learned so many things, like I was no good with algebra, but when it got to all kinds of emotions, I did not understand it. Okay, I get it. I got all kinds of emotions I didn't understand coming at me, and I was unarmed with how to deal with it. I enjoyed I enjoyed that the books are endless foundation of stories, all the different characters and moments they were through. Yet I took for granted the very few friends that I had. When I was told education was the most important thing, I was failing in self-growth, improving as a person each day. Later in life, I started to learn that I have to make the final choice. At first, the realization was really scary to me. My whole college career, all the choices were filtered through other people's suggestions instead of did I really want that? Is that really necessary? Me thinking through it. After a long roller coaster ride of changes, I stopped making big choices and wanted to grow as a person. I succeeded. I failed, which I felt sticked out. I had made it to another level, and I love that. A book I found on a random day that upgraded my life. Therefore, there is a lot of cleaning up to do, but I am so proud that the choices I made recently, whether flopped or a big success, I slowly chose it with minimal to no influence, and that is a win that I celebrate every day.
Thank you, Crystal. Marianne, have you got your story there?
Chapter 1, Introduction. Hello, my name is Marianne Vickers, and I was born and bred in Preston, Lancashire, England. In the year 1968, I was born the middle child of 3 girls. Very proud being raised a mixed race child to my mum, Pauline, who was white, and to my father, who was called Bernard, who was black. Being mixed race was not to be easy, and it made my life sad and hard at times, which with so much racism along the way, I felt I never belonged. Was brought up by my mother, and along the way having stepfathers, difficult as life was, I found growing up very hard and depressing at times. I had dreams, and didn't we all? And that's what so hard work making dreams come true. All I wanted in life was to be loved, wanted and to be happy. You kind of wish that you could see the future, because of at times my life couldn't be much harder. I spent most of it fighting in which I believed in, and trying to be myself when others tried to change me. Now I'm 50, nearly 51 by the way, years old. I had half of a century of experience and ownership, and I used to wonder why life was so hard for me, and used to ask myself the question, and now I know and I believe it was to make me stronger, wiser, and to learn life hard lessons sorry, I'm finding it really hard tonight. Do you know what I mean? Sorry. I became wiser, and I learned a lot of life hard lessons, and it has made me into the loving, caring, and strong woman today that I am. It also enables me to help others to overcome problems and give good advice, which I continue to do each and every day. So here is my story. My story begins, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I am loving writing it. and reliving the memories, good or bad. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Marianne. Thank you, everyone. Honestly, I don't think you realise just how powerful you are. You really don't. Honestly, I can't even read my story out. I feel like I'm in tears. Honestly, it's wobbly. I don't know if anybody else is feeling that, but thank you so much. So thank you, Rob, for joining us, and thank you, Carol, as well, for joining us. We've come to the end of our time together, but I just want to share with you let's just actually, I've probably just done a bit of feedback would be great in terms of, I think somebody's mic's, there we go. So this is what we do. What you've just experienced this evening is what we do with the storytelling. So each of us, we have that's my story there, but I'm not going to read it tonight, because when you download, we have the first 5 parts of the process. It's a free download, and if you haven't downloaded it, I encourage you to do that. And so what we do is we go through, can you see the screen? Thumbs up if you can see it. Yeah. And so that's my story, which is about 450 words. So each of us write 450 words as an introduction to who we are. And that's the page where you reflect your writing. And then we discuss, many of us are busy doing, but it's kind of like, how are we being? And really, that's the aim. The aim is for all of us to be in a space of being, just beingness. And many of us have never even explored that. So we explore, what's it like rushing around, but in actual fact, forgetting that inner core of ourselves that may be crying out to live our passion. So we're encouraging so many people to live the passion. And this process is just about finding a place to express self and to know it's okay to speak truth. That's what this space is. And so that's another chapter that we write about. So we reflect our thoughts there. And then we talk about the community, a community tree, which is, just living in a place that is, like, for instance, we've got 10 characteristics here of a well-run, functioning community. And I encourage people to read through and then think about whose roles and responsibilities are they and where do you fit in. So, for instance, a learning community where people and groups gain knowledge, skills and confidence. It's kind of, do we have that in our communities where we live, on the web? Where do we find these 10 characteristics, and how do we create them? How are we part of them? Because many of us can sit back and be observing, looking outside of ourselves, but it's kind of like down to, how are we showing up in the world, and how are we bringing these characteristics to even just ourselves as a community in our surroundings. So we have a space to write there, again, for you to write there. And then this one, which is a familiar one, everybody recognises this one, which is that pursuit of happiness that many of us have been taught to strive for everything and work really hard. And the reflection that I have from Tell Your Story people that have gone through this process, 56 people, is that 56 people writing about the pursuit of happiness and listening to our stories on a regular basis, everybody is actually saying the same. And what I've realised is that your story is not about you. Your story is actually about everybody else, of who your story impacts on the ears of everybody. So everybody needs to write their story. We need an army of people to support people in writing their story, because it's the same thing. And if we can identify the same, then we can identify differences, but we can also celebrate those differences and create solutions to many problems that are in our world. But we all need to get on that level playing field. So where there isn't, the differences are celebrated and not seen as being a weakness. So pursuit of happiness is one of those places that we reflect upon, and we're able to identify, well, are we happy as a nation, as a world? Are we really happy as communities? Because we have to change something. So we write about that. So that's another chapter that we write about. And then the last chapter in this first part of the series is status. And this relates to labels. Many of us have been told in our education system, work really hard, as we know from that pyramid, and get a good job, and you'll be set up for life. And the reality is, a lot of people still believe that. A lot of people, we've been taught that, but in actual fact, a lot of people are recognising that actually it's not a happy life living until you're 60, 70, depends on what the pension age is, and realising that actually you've just spent your life living a life that's not been passionate, that's not necessarily empowered anybody, that hasn't served people in the way that your heart's intended to. So this whole process helps us just to lift off those heavy weights of burden that have been placed on us. Oh, it's amazing when the mic comes, you can hear the mic. So that's my reflection of that. And then That's your reflection there. And then that's the first part done. And then we go through the next parts, and literally that's all we do. We just go through these different chapters. Each person that has wrote their book has gone through the same, which is why we mentor people through hand holding. So nobody's in this process that hasn't walked the talk. So we're all walking our talk and holding space for other people. So that is the I say that is then. If anybody's got any questions, or if anybody in the team thinks that I haven't mentioned something that was like vitally important, then shout out. But I'd love to hear from Rob and Carol what they've thought about this evening, and and why you came along. Actually, that'd be really good, because nobody's dragged here. They are encouraged and invited personally, and it's great to see new people coming on. So Carol, I don't know if you want to jump out or and say what you thought about this evening.
Yeah, it was really interesting. I had no idea what I was coming on to. Cassia asked me, and because I know her, I just thought, yeah, I'll come on and see what. I thought it might have been a crypto thing.
A crypto? Oh, okay.
The crypto. But I had no idea really, and she gave me a brief overview. I think just not long before I came on, but I had no idea what it was all about.
Bless you. And what did you think of it?
No, it was very interesting. I'm not 100% well today, so that's why I'm in my bed. And
bless you.
So maybe I could concentrate more if I was feeling 100%.
Bless you. No, thank you so much for coming and not being well. That's always a massive thing. But there is a recording, so we can certainly, you can get a hold of Cassia and get the recording, or even actually get the 5-part series. And the 5-part series, I go through it. Each chapter, so literally, it's 5 days, 5 chapters, and you can write the chapters as you're going along, and then come along to one of these sessions to read out your 5 chapters, which takes a couple of hours to do. And so it's literally just a 2-hour session. That's what we do. We're all on the same page. So feel free to access that as well, Carol. But thank you so much for coming along, and for Cassia for inviting Carol and to be fighting through not feeling well. Thank you. So Rob, how about yourself? Now let's unmute you there. Is that there? Brilliant. Thank you for joining us. Where are you calling in from?
I'm calling in from Hamburg, Germany.
Oh, brilliant. And are you English?
I am. I'm a London-born and bred, Greenwich, Southeast London boy.
Wow, brilliant. I don't think we've got any other London-born people on tonight, have we? No. So you recognise our accents, though? You recognise the northern accent?
I can recognise the northern accents, yeah, especially Marianne's and yourselves, yeah.
Fantastic. So what was it that inspired you to come along and to...
I think, to be honest, like Carol, I didn't really know what to expect. Okay? But what I did feel, having listened to or hearing your initial invitation recently, and then listening to Crystal and Marianne's stories, I can really feel an authentic energy here. Okay, that's the best way I can put it right now. There's a strong bond of sincerity going on, which I really like. I've recently moved here to Hamburg, and it's been really bizarre in that I kind of did it on a whim. I just wanted to escape from London. I wanted to escape from England, and I just said, right, that's it. I'm going to go for it. And I just literally 3 months notice. I didn't know anyone. I just came out here, and that's it.
Wow.
So I wanted to get back in touch with English speakers, and but also people who I felt were coming from that space of being sincere and real. And certainly there's some powerful stories that I've heard, as I say, from both Marianne and Crystal. So I'm sure there's plenty more. So I'd just like to thank you. And I'm sorry that I was late, everyone, because obviously there's a time that I should be here, and I apologize for that. But I look forward, hopefully, to the next one.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you, Rob. It's always great, to seeing people, and it's fantastic. You just taking off and going to Joan. Good for you. I think it's essential. I think this is in terms of tell your story, that's what I feel when you listen to the stories week after week after week, you see this unfolding of individual people that we've all been taught to just live like that. And it's kind of like, that's not where life is. Life is out there, and it's taking those risks, perceived risks, and just going for it. So yeah, brilliant. You're all kind of guy. So yeah, we're going to make sure that we're following you up on being part of our community. So I'm great that you love the English accent, because there's quite a few of us actually that are English, and the American as well, and Scottish, which is so expand it out. But yeah, brilliant, Rob. It's brilliant.
Thank you.
Thank you. And everybody else, because I know you all spot your story, but thank you everybody for coming. Any feedback that you've got, what I would love maybe is for you to just to say what you found from the Tell Your Story process for Rob, Carol, and for all those people who were able to make it, so that they're able to hear your voices. So I don't know who wants to jump out first. Marianne.
Thank you so much for tonight, yeah, because to be honest, I've been in this class of people all my life with you, Anthea. We started from near enough beginning, probably the middle, actually. But I found myself back tonight, yeah, and I so appreciate it, because you know what? You've taught me so much, you know. You've taught me so much. You really have. You've learnt me to get back into society again, if that makes sense, right? Because the loving and the joy I get from this process is unbelievable. And yeah, I should have finished my book like millions of years ago, right? But I never did. And you know what? Maybe it was for a reason I never did. Because the loving process of it all, by really believing in it and really understanding it, probably it sells itself. Do you know what I mean? In that process. Well, thank you for all the good comments tonight, by the way. I love it. You are Columbia. You really are.
And I think it's interesting, Marianne, because I think sometimes when we're writing our book process, sometimes we don't want to finish it because it means it's like it's the end of this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there is another part to it. So it's kind of like, so finish your book because it needs to be told, you know. But thank you so much for coming along and for your kind words. Just for time. Leni, I'm going to hand over to Leni. Thank you, Marianne. It's great to see you. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for tonight, first of all. It has been fantastic to join again this storytelling, because it's quite some months ago I finished my story, but the thing is that it never ends. Even though I finished writing my story, first of all, new aspects come up every time I read it, and I don't even remember the things I wrote at that time. But I can feel as we continue, we work together every week, and we have the do sessions, and things continue rolling and changing. So it's only getting deeper and deeper and deeper into our realizations, and the things sharing again and again, and new things. It's like we're developing all the time. And that's the exciting thing, that it doesn't stop when you finish your book. That's just the beginning.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, it's lovely to hear that, Leni. It's evolving, isn't it? It really is evolving in its rawness, and there isn't, you know, people want structure. People want kind of the more structure that we've got is the book process, and that reason for the structure so that we're all on the same page. And in a way, what we're doing is resetting our energies to adapt to this new energy of our world, because our old world has changed and it needed to change. So it's brilliant. Thank you for that. That's lovely what you've said there. And feel free to say where you're from as well, so that Rob knows where everybody's from. So Leni, where are you from?
Oh yeah, I'm from Denmark.
Thank you.
And it's very nice to meet all those new people. Also, Marianne, I haven't met you before, and very nice to hear your story. And yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you. Anybody else wants to jump out? I don't want to. I'm always saying, oh, Crystal.
I just wanted to share. I know, like, I had vanished for like a couple months, and it's really funny, like, just like the fact that when you're with a community of people, because I have you guys and I have a group of ladies that we join, and Tracy's there too, and it's just we get to meet up, and just me showing up every Sunday for that has been like massive, because even though old patterns that just come up, like when you notice you're getting too big, or you're getting like, it's like you start to like embrace who you are, but then something triggers, like your limiting belief is like, hey, by the way, you're getting a little too big, you can't fit in this incubator anymore, so we need to shrink you down. And that shrinking period just takes, you never notice until like you're like, I haven't been really doing anything. And then like, oh, I guess I should start changing it. And reading my story, because I want to say 6 months ago, I think, and reading my story again, it's just like, because
don't think you've gone.
Just kind of going to the core of the child in me, like what's the core of me. And for me, it's just curiosity. I'm curious about things. I'm curious about everything. So when I was reading the story, I felt like something that I missed was just how curious I was about when I was born, when I was a teen, when I went through my troubles, and how I am right now. And how curiosity has kind of woven in my life and stuff.
Brilliant. And it's only been 3 months, it's not been 6 months. You only started in about October, just to knock it down.
Felt like that long week.
It's so easy to think, isn't it? So yeah, don't beat yourself up, you're okay. Brilliant. No problem, Adele. Adele's got to just nip off. Anybody else that wants to jump out and speak out? Jerry Lee decided to run with this process when we started in April. Jerry Lee was one of our pioneers. Do you want to share? Actually, Crystal, where are you from? Actually, as well.
I'm in Michigan, US.
Michigan, US. Brilliant, thank you. Jerry Lee, where are you, and what's been your experience of this process as one of the original pioneers, along with Tracy and Law?
Yeah, so being here from the very beginning. I'm calling in from Scotland. I'd go on about a long list, as long as my arm, about what this storytelling has meant for me, but one of the key growth characteristics would be for me my stepping into my own leadership. And I know that I've found an even more authentic voice in front of camera. So this process has been huge in terms of looking at the past and sharing it, but I've also had the opportunity to facilitate. And that takes on a whole new meaning about storytelling, because no longer is your story about you sharing your story. You're holding the space for others to tell their story. And coming from that end, it's very special. In short, words can't express, like right now, I feel a lot of love within the screen, and I feel a lot of energy back in the community. And you will not find your soul family in physical more than you find it within this screen. That's how it felt for me from the very beginning.
Thank you, Jerry Lee. And Tracy is another pioneer, one of the original ones in April started. Where are you from, and how have you found this process?
Yeah, so I'm here in the States. I'm in Arizona, born New York and grew up California. So I've been a little all over. And yeah, I came on not knowing what to expect or what was going to come of it. And very much like what Marianne was saying, you know, you learn so much about yourself and what comes out. And so for me personally, was, you know, the process, then you start to see what, I guess you would say, what kind of repeating patterns and such are there. And for me personally, it was a lot about the theme of separation and feeling separate from all of you know, what's going on around me in life, and kind of that whole you're on your own thing. And you know, being in this space and listening to other people's story, you soon find out you are not alone, and everybody else has been pretty much through the same, you know, crap that you have. It's just a different flavor. It's just a different, you know, maybe language or culture or belief system. But in that, listening to your story being said and listening to others, then you start seeing that it's all one story. And the story is all of us getting back to ourselves and loving ourselves and forgiving ourselves and all those other people around us. So it's been definitely a great thing, and has opened up a lot of places where I have had to do a lot more inner work. And I am grateful for that.
Thank you, Tracy. Laura, do you want to say? I know Laura's in a bit of pain tonight, so I don't know if you want to have a quick few words. Laura's been an angel of kind of, I've been camped out with Laura for quite a while, developing this. She's just been a rock, and I've got nothing to do with the reason why she's in pain, but yeah, where you are and
Bless you, yeah. In between screaming, I'll save the screaming. I'm over on the North York Moors in Castleton, North Yorkshire, but I'm actually originally from southeast of London, an Essex lass, never settled there, never took to it, just needed to head for the hills and sanity. Do you know what I've realised most tonight is how much I missed you all, actually. I'm going to go get tearful now. I'll try not to get tearful. There's just always such genuineness and warmth and open and compassion in this group. And with having missed a few sessions through being so rough, yeah, I've really missed you all. It's an incredible process that Anthea's brought to us that does enable you to go in as deep as you're ready to go into. And the deeper I've gone, the deeper I've ended up going, which has been quite incredible. But I'm so determined to fully clear past rubbish, you know. So this year's really exciting, and getting my health back on track will mean I can step in here more and be with you all and bring more people in, which is just vital, because this is just stands out on its own. It's the most precious process with people with huge open hearts. There we go. Thank you, Anthea.
Thank you. So it's between Cassia and Paul. Paul, do you want to just say a quick few words, and we'll let Cassia end it out? Bless, that was a big sigh. Don't feel pressured.
Okay. Where am I?
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think most of the things that have been said, I could sort of reiterate, really. And actually, I came to this process. I'm talking from Scotland. I've been originally come from Yorkshire. I've always been sort of around the north of this of the United Kingdom. I've had spells around the world doing different things. But anyway, the thing is that come to the storytelling, I didn't really know what to expect. I always felt I wanted to write a story, that was for sure. But once getting into the process, I realised there was quite a lot more to it than that. And it's a clearing process, but it's also a process which enables you to go deeper into great depth into areas which actually in many different environments you'd rather not go, and you haven't gone, and you've always sort of shut them away. So I think it's quite cathartic, definitely for one big thing. I've been through quite a number of sessions whereby we've sort of all ended up in a sort of as an emotional wreckage, really. But having gone to that place, you find that there's an opportunity for growth, because having not been there, you don't really know what it is to go there, if you like. So it's touched quite a lot of areas for me, at least, and I think for for many others. Areas which didn't think I've gone through other processes and never really touched these areas as deep. It's always been other things to distract you. I think the whole fact that, actually the fact that you do it in the way it's done, and actually through this media, rather than, I mean, we could sit around in a circle, chairs, and, you know, announce who we are and then go on to, you know, try and go deep. But I think actually the connection here is spiritual. It's quite amazing, really, because we can do this to people from around the world, whereas if you're sort of having to meet up at somebody's house, it's going to be a local thing. And the impact of that is far greater, I think, because we've become a little insular. Certainly the areas I've lived and worked, there's an element there. You get factions, you get cliques, and by being able to extend this to people from all over the world, it becomes a community, and a true community, a global community, which I think is something which is required these days. There are all sorts of issues around, and issues which we take on board. I know growing up, that was always a big thing. It was like trying to fit in, and not really feeling you fitted in. Although it was always that people would never dream of sort of thinking you didn't, because you just seemed to do, but you knew inside you didn't really. So actually it's been a huge process, and it's brought me to a point which I didn't think, well, I've striven for quite a number of years to actually get to this point. What I'm finding now is that I need to refocus energy in order to keep moving, and part of coming back to the community helps you do that. And actually taking time away as well, I think, could be an important thing, because as Lahila said, that actually she's been away for a while, she's not been too good, but she's kind of missed everybody, and that's the way it is. And but I think that in itself can actually just help reaffirm how important it can be. So yeah, it's been a very important process. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go on so long, but I know that's just the way it is.
No problem.
Let Casey ever say, okay, cheers.
Yeah, thank you. And it's why break a habit of a lifetime.
I will just jump quickly. I joined in July 2018, and as very, very busy, that was very, very, very busy month for me. So I was just follow the process, doing as fast as I could. And as soon as I finished the book, probably a few weeks after, I could easily say that I'm ready for next one, because life changed so much. So I would advise everybody to just get in the process and don't think this is just one-off book and everything is done, because anytime when we read the story, it sounds different, and sometimes there are tears, sometimes we can't even read the story because it's so deep. But the same, I will just say that I'm sure that everybody who finished the complete the book is ready for next one, because it's already a few months after we finish. So this is quite difficult to explain. Everybody can use different words, but this is just changed my life, definitely. So I'm much more calm now. Even the life is still crazy, busy, and the changes are upside down. But yes, that's help. That's help to be very, very clear what to do now.
Brilliant.
I will advise everybody.
Thank you so much, Cassie. Cassie, where are you from, and where are you based?
I'm from Poland, and I'm in Scotland for the last 10 years. So
fantastic. And I mean, it's a shame Adele wasn't able to jump. I mean, thank you so much for being here as well, Adele. And it's really funny because I missed everybody when I saw everybody coming online. It was just like, oh my gosh, this because we've all gone through the process, and now everybody's ready to lead and to lead groups. So the intention of the launch is to gather people that each person will be facilitating and leading leadership, authentic leadership, to facilitate groups through the storytelling process. So that's just the extension. We're under a minute and it's going to cut out. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. Reach out, Rob, let's have a conversation. And